If you've been following my channel, you might remember my popular jewelry box tutorial. Well, I have exciting news for you. I've found a way to make them even easier than before, and in today's video, I will show you how. Whether you're looking for an inexpensive gift to make for a loved one or looking to add an item to your craft show inventory that will earn you some cash, this tutorial will have you on your way to creating magic in just a few simple steps and with a few simple products. If you like this video, please remember to subscribe and click the notification bell. Well, hello my friend. Welcome back to another video. If this is your first time here, thank you so very much for joining me. But if you're a longtime viewer, I know you've seen these boxes before, and I'm going to address them again because I've come up with an even easier way to create these using less products, and therefore I've made this simple step-by-step tutorial to pass along to you in hopes that you can use this education to create your own little pretty jewelry boxes that you can either give away for gifts at the holidays, which are fast approaching, by the way, or sell at a craft show and make yourself a little bit of cash. As mentioned in earlier videos, these have always been my #1 selling item at a craft show, and it's because they are unique, actually really stunning in person. They don't cost me a lot to make, so I make a good profit off of them, and people go home with a beautiful gift. But I mentioned this video is different from others because I'm omitting one product. What is that product? And how do we do this? That's coming up next. To do this project, you're going to need the following supplies. You're going to need acrylic paint. You're going to need a can of house paint that you can buy at Lowe's, preferably this Sherwin Ovation Plus semi-gloss untinted base C brand. You're going to need a bottle of Jo Sonja gloss varnish, some Australian Floetrol, and a jewelry box. These I buy at Hobby Lobby. You'll also need a little bit of water, some paper cups, stir sticks, and disposable gloves if you don't like paint-covered fingers. I also recommend buying a cheap tablecloth from the Dollar Tree to protect your table. And while you're there, pick up some cheap masking tape just to tape off the bottom of the lid of your jewelry box to keep that nice and clean. So now let's get started. Step 1, how to make a homemade pouring medium. This can of paint that I'm using right here is the Sherwin-Williams Ovation Plus untinted semi-gloss base C can from Lowe's. The amount you use is based off how much you need to thin down your paints. I'm only doing 2 jewelry boxes, so this 8-ounce cup will be plenty. I fill the cup up halfway with the untinted house paint, and then I pour in Jo Sonja gloss varnish until the cup's almost full. I leave just enough room to stir. By blending these two together, I have made a homemade pouring medium in which I'm going to use to thin down my Amsterdam acrylic paints. The next thing we're going to do is create what's called a cell activator. This is when we use Australian Floetrol and an acrylic paint to create one color that's going to create that pretty lacing and cells on top of the jewelry box. I prefer to use this Golden brand carbon black heavy body paint for my cell activator. Amsterdam works well too. So into this cup, it doesn't matter how much you put. If you put that much paint in, a little dollop of it, you're going to make a little tiny bit of cell activator. There's not really any measuring, okay? So what I do is I just squeeze some in there, and however much I end up with, I do, and then if I need more, I'll just make some more. Now to this, we're going to add our Australian Floetrol, all right? And what we're going to do is We're going to slowly add it until we know it's at the right consistency. Now, how do we know what the right consistency is? Here's a little hack for you. This pouring medium that we just made to mix our colors in happens to be the perfect consistency for the technique that we're going to be doing. So what I'm going to do if I'm a new person is I'm going to pour a little bit of this pouring medium off just so I have it for a reference. I don't have to do this because I know what the correct consistency is, but should I be new and not really know, this is the perfect consistency before we add anything into it. So once we add in our paint into that product, it's going to be a lot thicker. We're going to add water until we get it back down to looking like this consistency. All right. But we're on the cell activator right now. So I'm going to slowly add my Australian Floetrol to this black paint until it runs off the stick and feels like this cup right here. That's a little cheat for you. Now with the cell activator, because the Australian Floetrol is so thin, we don't need to use any water in this part. We're only using water for the colors and the pigments that I'm going to be making. Other than that though, for this right here, no water, just the Australian Floetrol. And through the magic of editing, we're all ready now. It flows off the stick, not that you can really see it. Now let me try putting it in a smaller cup. So here we go. Okay. Flows freely off the stick and it leaves a nice fluffy mound and slowly disappears. And more importantly, it's the same consistency as this one. So now we have our pouring medium ready for our colors. We have our cell activator. Now all we need to do is make our colors. So what I'm going to show you is how to mix up a pigment, your pillow paint, and just a regular color. Hold on, rewind. What did I just say? Make a pillow paint? Yes, you heard right. We are making our own pillow paint today, and therefore you don't have to buy that can, saving you some money. To make our pillow paint, let me show you a very easy way to do this. Put some white acrylic paint into a cup, approximately 2 ounces. Pour into that white paint 6 ounces of your homemade pouring medium. Combine them together, and once they are thoroughly combined, add water until it goes back to its original state. You want it to be the same consistency as the pouring medium that we made. So slowly add that water and keep testing it against the cup of pouring medium. Move the stick back and forth through the cup of paint. Do it to the cup of pouring medium. See if you could feel the difference. Do they feel the same? Do they look the same? If they do, you're perfect. We're ready to start making our colors. Now you may be saying to yourself, Tammy, why have we been buying pillow paint all this time if we could just make it this way? And the reason for that is because we tend to use so much white paint that the pillow paint or the white paint sold at the store in the can is much cheaper in the long run to just buy that and use it than to use the expensive untinted semi-gloss Sherwin Williams base C can. So, making the jewelry boxes, you don't need a lot of white paint, so it's much cheaper. Making a small painting, it would be much cheaper. But if you want to do large paintings, then buying the can of white paint is the way to go. But after doing this, I realized there's another reason, and I will tell you about that in a minute. But first, let's mix our colors. To make your colors is going to be the same exact thing, except I'm going to make less because I don't need a full cup of pink. So what I'm going to do again is just put some paint, about a tablespoon worth of paint in the bottom of the cup. I'm going to cover that paint and fill the cup up till it's about half full. Mix the two together, add water until it comes back to its original state. Okay, there you go. The last thing we want to mix up is a pigment. Now, pigments are a little different because pigments do not have any body to them. They're just a powder, a fine powder. So what we're going to do is we're going to mix this into our pouring medium, but we're not going to add nearly as much water. We're going to add a little bit of water to help them dissolve a little bit, but other than that, we do not need much water at all. The other difference is that when you do the pigments, you want to put the pouring medium in first, because if you put the pigment at the bottom of the cup, it's going to be hard to get it thoroughly incorporated. So pour your pouring medium in first, add your pigment. This one is Pink Azalea from Color Art. I usually do the tip of the tongue depressor twice. And then what I'll do is just sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle. Just a little water on the surface to get it to dissolve easier. And then I'll go ahead and mix them in. That easy, my friends. That easy. It's a beautiful pigment that is a beautiful pink with a beautiful gold shimmer. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and mix up the other two colors I'll be using today, and then I'll be right back to show you how to create these box tops. All right, the next thing now we're going to do is design our box tops, and we're going to make this very simple. We have 4 colors plus the white pillow paint that we made and the cell activator. You'll notice I have a cup upside down. What I do is I take the lid, I haven't primed it or anything, just raw wood, tape the underneath off so it'll stay nice and clean, and I just balance it right on top of that until it's done with the resin, everything. I let it just sit right on top of that cup. So first we need to pour the paint and let it dry, and then we come back once it's dry to do the coat of resin. We're going to take some of our homemade white pillow paint. We're going to pour it right in the center here, and we're going to let gravity take over, and it's going to pull it down over the sides. Just like that. And we're going to wait a minute. So it's been about a minute. I just paused the camera, and you can see it's gone over the edge. If it doesn't move, you could always pick it up and tilt it. I just like to leave it there. All right, and then before we put our colors on, I'm going to just torch for air bubbles. Make sure I pop them all. All right, let me show you how to layer these paints. You want to put down a regular acrylic paint and then put a pigment on top if you're using pigments. The pigments always look better on top of the acrylic paints. Now, even though it looks like I'm using the same color 2 times here, it is not. It's a matching pigment. So I have that pretty pink from Amsterdam and then the azalea pink from Color Art. So they are different. I used these 2 colors, and then I used a light rose from Amsterdam and a sweet pea pigment from Color Art. Once you place your colors down on the jewelry box top, you want to come in with your cell activator. In my case, I like to use black because I think it makes the colors more stronger looking. You can use white. It will make it more of a pastel looking top. You can use any color from the Amsterdam line, blue, purple, green, red, orange. They all work. But anyway, I chose the black. And you want to just place about a $half size amount on top of the lid, on top of that puddle that you created, and use your blow dryer to blow straight down into the black, and you'll see the beautiful cells and lacing that it creates. Here we go. So just blow down into that black paint, spreading it all over the top of the colors, and look at it perform. If for some reason the center doesn't develop for you, what you could do is take a straw and lightly blow in those areas, and you'll see the cells and lacing start to pop up. This second box top is a great example of not giving up. I was not happy with the first time I did it, as you'll see here. So I kept adding colors to it and trying again and again. And I finally got to something that I liked. I'm going to let you just watch me struggle through this one while I tell you there was another great reason for making your own pillow paint that I mentioned earlier. And I'd like to discuss it now with you while we have a minute. I want to tell you that these two box tops that I made using my homemade pillow paint came out to be, or I should say, turned out to be the best blooms I've ever made. As far as drying, as far as look, they just really, really performed well. And I think it's because I used that same can of paint to mix all of the colors in. I didn't have to worry about that brand competing with my pillow paint brand. It really, really did well. And you'll see that at the end of this video, the dry finished results. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And I highly suggest that you give this a try. Just grab your untinted base paint that you use, grab your Joe Sonia varnish, and make your white or your black pillow, whatever color you want to make your colors and your pigments with it, and just make your little cup of cell activator. I'm telling you, you will be pleasantly surprised. And as you can see here, I didn't give up on this one. I just kept going and going and going, and I finally got it to where I liked it. And once we're done with this, we just let it dry overnight. Believe me, these things dry so fast. It's amazing. It was dry in like 9 hours. And then we come back for the next part. Okay, so we'll let that dry. Here is the other. And I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but lots and lots of sparkle in here. You know, we'll probably have to wait until the resin gets on there. You can see a little bit in the black area there. But once the resin gets on, you'll be able to see it really, really good. So I'm going to let this dry, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to finish them off. So here we are the next day. Like I said, 9 hours later, they were dry. Just because it's wood, it soaks it in so fast. But look at how well this behaved. It dried, no cracks, no nothing. Absolutely perfect. So now to finish them off and get them ready for the craft show that I'm doing next weekend, we're going to pour a little bit of KS resin on top of them. Let it naturally spread out by itself over the top. I'm not going to spread it out or anything. The great thing is gravity takes over and pulls it over the edges. I just use my finger a little bit to go around the edge to make sure it's all coated. And then I pop the air bubbles and then put it somewhere covered so no dust or hair can get in it. And I let it sit there for 24 hours. Once that is done, I will come back and perform the last couple of steps. Alrighty, here they are. The resin is cured. They look beautiful. I am so excited. I know these will sell right away. I sell these, by the way, for about $35 each at the fair. And it cost me about 10 bucks altogether to make them. So here is the back. You had the tape you put on there to keep them clean. What you have to do is peel that tape off. If the resin is too hard and it won't peel off, just heat it up a little bit with your heat gun and it will peel right off the back. And then I glue this cute little round cork bottom onto the bottom of the bottom half of the box. Wow, that was a mouthful. And we are done. There you have it. Look at how cute that is. People love these things, especially for gifts. Look at that, would look beautiful in any little girl's room on her dresser, even my room. I may keep this one for myself. I'm not sure yet. But anyway, I hope that you give this a try, my friend, and I hope that this video was helpful. Of course, if you don't want to go through this technique and you want to just mix some paint with some water and try to pour them on top, you can absolutely do that. I do not suggest a lot of water, only because this is wood and it will warp if you use a ton of water. But yeah, there's a ton of videos out there. I have a lot more videos on these. I will link the playlist in the description of this video, along with all the other products that I used if I have discounts for them. Look at those pretty pigments shimmering in there. I just am so, so happy with the outcome here. I want to thank you all so very much for joining me. And as always, I will be back next Sunday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with another brand new tutorial. So until then, remember, the sky's the limit when it comes to designing these box tops, and just get creative and have some fun. I love you all, and happy pouring.